Hello, welcome to Back to School Night at West Ranch High School. My name is Annie Preach, and your student is in my Honors Geometry 1A class. I am very happy to have my students in my virtual class. However, I look forward to meeting them in person, hopefully sometime this school year. I was able to share this flip book with my students on the first day of class. It is full of important information. It is also in their Google Classroom if they ever want to refer back to it. I also wanted to share this flipbook with you today. This welcome letter introduces myself to the students, and it also lets them know that when we learn, we grow, and we are going to be learning differently this year during distance learning, but we are going to grow from it. We are all going to be more flexible, resilient, patient, forgiving, understanding, and supportive of one another during this period of distance learning. I look forward to building my relationships with my students while still providing rigor and making this class relevant to the real world. This is my 16th year teaching here at West Ranch High School. Of course, this is unlike any other, but I truly enjoy teaching my geometry and honors geometry classes. My goal for my students is to feel connected to myself, the teacher, their peers, and our virtual classroom so they can feel comfortable while learning from a distance. My best advice for my students is to communicate. Please encourage them to communicate with the teacher, their peers, their counselors, and the other available people here on campus. What my students can do to make distance learning a success is to participate, ask questions, be present, be on time, share out, help one another, keep it positive, communicate, and schedule Zoom calls with peers or with myself, the teacher. I'm excited to build this online class community, and I know we'll continue to be stronger as the days pass. In my course syllabus, there is a lot of important information. However, I wanted to share my highlights with you. If you have any, starting with number one, if you have any questions, please contact me at my email address. It's apreach@heartdistrict.org. Students should come to virtual class prepared and on time with the materials needed, ready to work and eager to participate with a positive attitude because we're in this together. The grading policy is 70% assessments and 30% homework and classwork. Students will receive full credit on homework when they submit homework with all work shown to Google Classroom. It is the student's responsibility to check their own answers and work using the attached answers and keys provided in Google Classroom. It is also the student's responsibility to ask questions during virtual class or online flex time if they need help. Homework is due by the next class in Google Classroom, but will not receive late credit until 1 week to the day that the assignment was assigned. Extra help will be available during class time and also during online flex learning time. Behavior expectations while online are the same as in class. Students should be attentive, focused, appropriate, and participatory. There will be consequences to student actions. I will enter scores on assignments and assessments weekly or as often or more often if I can. Even daily updates will be made as well. I encourage my students to communicate with me. They can send me messages, they can email me, they can ask me questions during virtual class, they can participate in online discussions, stay on the Zoom call during asynchronous time, or they can make separate Zoom appointments with me. We are going to be covering the Common Core standards for geometry, including the plus standards, which is part of the honors curriculum. In an honors class, our pacing still does move quicker, and we do cover more topics. The assessments will also be more challenging in addition to the homework assignments as well. Materials that they need for class every day would be lined paper or printed copies of the blank notes or homework from Google Classroom. They should have a 3-ring binder to help them stay organized. Pencils and highlighters are important in this class, and a pen to correct their homework. I've talked to them about the optional items, and at this point they don't need a calculator yet. They do not need a hard copy textbook for this class. They have already picked up one and they can use it as a reference, but my main curriculum will be posted on Google Classroom. I will provide all the resources that they need in Google Classroom. The class structure is students must attend class daily on time with their cameras on their faces. Attendance will be taken, and students must enter Zoom with their first name, nickname if they would like, and last name. For each class, I will post a daily agenda on the stream. So every day they will check their stream announcements, and that is where they will find the agenda for the day and also the Zoom link. I will also post all materials in the classwork of Google Classroom. I post this by day, so it would say day 1, August, let's say 17th, and all of the materials for that day would be under that day. Mrs. Preach will stay live during the entire Zoom class for each class, but the class will be structured with both synchronous time and asynchronous time. Synchronous time would be working live with the teacher. Students will do any of the following during this time: listen to reminders and updates, teacher will check in with students, I will also take attendance during this time, answer questions, updates, give warm-ups, practice, I assign participation, group activities, and they will also be put into Zoom breakout sessions at time. They may work on group assignments, and they may play online review games. They may also listen to Mrs. Preach teach content. That should be a period. Asynchronous time is where they are working independently, watching the video and taking down notes, and later completing the homework. During asynchronous time, students may also stay on the Zoom call during this time for additional help and for questions. So in the beginning of class, I will always have synchronous time where we are working together. When I let them leave for asynchronous time, students are still welcome to stay on if they have individual questions or need help. They are also welcome to stay on the entire class period, even if they are watching the video. I let them have that option. During asynchronous time, students can leave the Zoom call and can still join back in at any time. If they leave the call and they change their mind, they can come jump back in and they can ask questions or clarify something or get help. Depending on the length of the video lessons, they may consider splitting up the lesson where they watch half the lesson, then they take a 5-minute break and they finish the rest of the lesson. Our asynchronous time takes us to the end of the class period. Homework and help. I always tell my students that homework is worth a smaller percentage of the student's grade, yet it's the most important part of their student success. The knowledge they gain through lots of practice is invaluable, and completing the homework exposes them to be able to practice a variety of problems. This variety of practice will allow them to be more successful on assessments, which then is the larger percent of their grade. They will do the daily homework, which is put into Google Classroom. The homework assignments are found there, and there is also a homework calendar if they want to see all the homework assignments that are scheduled for the rest of the month. Homework assignments are due by the next class. However, I will not mark the assignment late until 1 week past the date when the assignment was assigned. Any homework assignment that is past 1 week since being assigned and up until the day of the test will receive late credit, which is 60% of the point. If the homework assignment is turned in after the unit test, it will be marked as turned in, but they will receive no credit. I suggest to my students to do all their homework in pencil, but correct their work with a colored pen. The answers to their homework are attached, but I also provide a homework key. This is a solution key to all of the homework questions. I decided to post the homework key because I think it's important for the students to not only go back and check their answers, but if their answer is wrong, they need to go back and correct it themselves. If they're not able to do so, they can actually check my key, which has all of my work, and they can find their error. If students still need help, I am of course available by email, Google Chat, and Zoom. These are an explanation of our important links that we use. Google Classroom is my main platform, and that is where I post my daily agendas, calendars, course syllabus, notes, homework, and other materials. They should be checking this each class. Zoom or Google Meet is where I will hold online class. So far, I have used Zoom calls. Infinite Campus is where all their grades will be entered. YouTube is where my lesson videos are uploaded, and they get a link to that in their Google Classroom. UC Scout, which is part of Canvas, and Apex are resources that I will use in the classroom when appropriate. And KudaWorks right now is my assessment platform, but I could change this at any time. There are other links that I have given the students to use. We have used Padlet. I plan on using Flipgrid, and there are some other online games that we will use as well, including Kahoot and Quizlet. My tips for success are listed on the last tab here. Mastering honors geometry is truly in the details. I encourage them to pay attention to all of the details taught in each lesson. There is an extensive amount of vocabulary, definitions, theorems, and postulates, which I call math rules, properties, etc. I encourage them to take good and complete notes and using my video and my keys. I tell them that they must show all work. You must show all work supporting your answer. So a lot of this work is learned in Algebra 1, and they do need to show all work. I tell them to be resourceful. If they need extra practice or extra videos or they want enrichment, please have them reach out to me. They should work with one another. In an honors class, we do cover a lot of material, but it is also more challenging than a regular geometry class. So if they need help, again, reach out to me. And although there is an extensive amount of new vocabulary, definitions, postulates, theorems, properties, etc., the actual solving and the math involved is the same as what they've learned in Algebra 1. These are some of the topics that they should have mastered from Algebra 1 to help them be successful in honors geometry. In geometry, the goal is to apply all the vocabulary, theorems, postulates, and properties to all different types of problems. No diagram is ever the same. It's really not as repetitive as algebra, so they do need to practice many different types of problems. And of course, what's very important is their self-care and their wellness. If they need anything, they can always reach out to Ms. Phillips in the Wellness Center, as well as myself, their counselor, and anybody else here at West Ranch. I appreciate you taking the time to watch my video. I look forward to having your student in class this semester. And if you have any questions, please email me or contact me at any time. Thank you so much. Goodbye.